Today I'll be replacing the SH switch, the momentary toggle switch on my Taranis here. I dropped it. Should have been wearing the neck strap, but I wasn't. So I picked up a replacement switch. There's going to be some soldering involved. So get the iron warmed up and off we go. I see that on the back here I've got several places where there's screws and look like Phillips down in there. I know that on the face here there's also these hex screws, but I'm not sure if these need to come out or not. So I'll start by taking out these Phillips screws from the back. And actually, in a brief burst of intelligence, I've figured out that I really ought to take the battery out of here before I start messing around with things. Alright, so never opened this before. Let's see what happens. Well, there it goes. Let's see. Looks like the SG and SE toggles need to come with the top. And there we've got it opened up there. So now it's this toggle that I'm going to need to be replacing here. And it looks like it's soldered to a little piece of circuit board there with a plug running into it. I'm looking at this here, thinking that this needs to get unscrewed. It's got slot cut in it here. See if I can figure out how to unscrew that. Maybe. Huh. That does seem to work. Okay. Could have chosen that a little better. Where did that go? Not going to want to lose this, so it goes over here where things don't get lost. This is the broken switch, so it looks like I need to get this piece of circuit board desoldered here. Ah, battery's done. Oh, this comes with its own nut here. So if I lost the other one, that would be okay. It is missing this black spacer, so I'm going to make sure I keep that. I did not get one of those here in this package, so keep this. Now there's something called a solder sucker, but I don't have one of those. Well, to its credit, that solder wick grabbed an awful good bit of that solder from that first pad, so I'm going to do that again. So what I'm doing here is I'm heating up the wick. And just letting that melt the solder, and then the solder flows into the wick off of the pads here. And now hopefully those pads have a little enough solder that I can get them off of there. So I did get this board desoldered from the old switch. And the one thing I'll need to do is I need to clear that little bit of solder out of that center hole so I can slot the new switch in through there. And 3 clear holes there. Now if I'd been smarter, I would have paid attention to which way this went in. So it was a good thing I'd been making this recording, because I was able to go back and review when I'd been working on this and find out that this side of the switch that's labeled on and on either side is actually oriented away from the mini plug here. So on the new switch, I'll do the same. On and on, that will be oriented away, so this should slot through here about like this. And I need to clean a little bit more solder up out of that hole on the right hand side. There we go. So now it's just going to be a matter of getting the solder on there. See that? So can you see? I don't know if you can see it here. It says on and on that side. On this side it's got some product codes and specifications, whatnot. And so I'll need to put some solder on these 3. Hold that in there and that part should be done. Now I'm assuming most of you watching this have done some soldering before, but if not, you'll notice I'm not heating the solder. I'm heating both the post of the switch that's coming through and the pad on the board. And that's important because you need those to be hot so that the solder will adhere to them properly. So there we go. Nice shiny little domes of solder there. And let's get it plugged back into the Taranis. So now I've got that plugged back in, and this is a good time to remember that little black spacer that sat on top of here. And that's so that it looks nice and tidy. And then not too many threads end up showing up through the case. You know, I'm sure there must be a tool for tightening this properly, but I don't have it, so I'm making do with a screwdriver. Slot these into the front instead of the back. There we go, look at that. Alright, let's close this puppy up. Nice. Now that looks like I got a nice tight seam all the way around, so I don't think anything is bound up or in the way. Everything still works there. Yep. Okay. Let's put a few screws in the back and check it out, see if it's working. I'll edit all this out of the video so it looks like I know what I'm doing.